They call this man the Prince of the Provinces, which I guess, Shane Jones, is a lot better than being called Machiavellian, a psychopath or a narcissist. Debbie Nariwa-Packer took the gloves off in the House yesterday and you weren't there to respond and defend your bosses.
Debbie Packer is the rabbit queen of the Maori Party, and she has been in one or three colonial holes too many. That speech was disgraceful. It lowers the standing of Parliament, and sadly for the rest of us, she lumbers us all with a less than agreeable reputation. I think she sees goblins and fairies, but because the human colour spectrum she enjoys is unseen by the rest of us, she's in a world of her own.
Well, they go on about racism. I'd say the biggest racists in the House are her and her mate Raweri.
They are losing lots of support amongst the garden variety Māori voters. They now realise that they've backed a pair of extremists who seem more attracted to the bleak days of the Sinn Féin party. Their ability to influence policy, their ability to improve investment, their ability to engender jobs is less than zero. And look, I don't know about your listeners, but I'm sure I reflect their concerns. We're sick of this ideological sludge coming from that part of the political spectrum.
Well, I guess Chris Hipkins and the Labour Party must be burying their head in embarrassment almost. The fact that the Greens and Te Pāti Māori are effectively activist party now, so it's going to be very difficult for them to form a coalition should they ever get voted back in. Just on a side note, who's the psychopath, who's the narcissist and who's Machiavellian?
Well, I studied politics, and Garibaldi and Machiavelli were key features of Italian history, but look, I don't want to indulge in that type of name calling, although I just did call her the queen of the rabbit queen, and I think it's a term she's working really hard to deserve.
Mind you were getting into Chloe in the House recently. You said you talked about her green ideological sludge, and I thought that wasn't a bad shot.
Well, we're in the midst of a power crisis. We've got insufficient gas, investment dried up. No one is to blame more than the Green Party and the juvenile assertions of Jacinda when she said that she was experiencing I think it was a nuclear moment and she needed to close down the gas industry. Of course, Megan Woods crowned that folly to a greater level by closing down our refinery. Everywhere I look, mate, regional New Zealand needs to be alert because a lot of the props that have maintained our resilience and maintain our profitability, they're being eroded, and affordable energy's always been a key feature which gave us a competitive advantage in New Zealand.
And you came out and said last week and New Zealand had the most expensive power in the world.
Indeed, and I've been challenged by callow young journalists who won't do their own homework. I can assure you that information came from one of the most sophisticated private sector investment analysts in the energy sector. The Jen Taylors, the whole electrical sector, it's overdue, mate, for some serious medical attention, and where there are rules and where there are regulations that have to be changed. I don't want to approach these things as if our contribution is an ashtray on a motorbike. We've got to make meaningful change because we cannot have employers laying off people, regional firms closing down because New Zealand is no longer an affordable country because of energy. And as you know, there's not a lot of money coming from the fiscal end because we're running a contractionary budgetary approach. There's not a lot of money coming out of the monetary policy because it's going to take a long time for us to get back to very low interest rates. So we're going to have to import capital and do it in such a way that it opens up and grows areas such as aquaculture. And we're not going to do that if we have too much red tape, green termites, sort of brown standover tactics from the Maori Party, or indeed unaffordable energy.
The folly of the previous government's energy policy. The chickens are really coming home to roost. It's not raining. The hydro lakes are at only 57% of capacity. We're seeing 600% increases on the spot market. We're seeing mills closing down because they can't afford to pay the electricity price to run them. Yeah, are we a banana republic? Are the lights going to go out?
Well, we've got a few options in front of us. Obviously, there's demand management. I had Rio Tinto in my office the other day. They're reducing the amount of energy that they take to provide more energy for us. I'm told that Methanex, the producers who use a lot of gas in Taranaki, are reducing their production so that other New Zealanders have access to energy. There's an option of importing LNG and LPG. In some ways, I regard that as an indictment that we close down the indigenous gas industry. And if we start to import gas, can we avoid a situation if we have a geopolitical meltdown such as Ukraine in our neck of the woods? What will that do to our economy if we're reliant on the Japanese spot price for LNG and LPG? So those things are being looked at. There's deep-seated geothermal energy under Kawerau and Taupo. I'm advised if they can ever crack the engineering, it will massively expand at an affordable rate our energy. But look, the last government did nothing other than cancel the oil and gas industry, and all of the consequences, like half-plucked fowls, are now roosting in front of us.
I'm a Southlander and I realise how important Tiwai is to the Southland economy, but have we made a cock-up re-signing a deal with a major multinational that's using power when we haven't got enough of our own?
The reality is they have a contract with the Crown. We cannot have a situation in New Zealand such as what Megan Woods did, indiscriminately, summarily cancelling contracts and then diminishing people's confidence in our sovereign worthiness. What we need to do is massively expand the supply of energy. We've got the fast-track legislation that's going to deliver part of the answer, but we've also got to delve into the makeup of our electricity sector. I personally can't understand why these retailers are allowed to own retail books as well as generation assets. They should be sent back to focus on core business, which is expanding the amount of energy, and stop gaming the system.
Well, the whole system's set up wrong. I heard a commentary from an energy expert saying the market is doing exactly what it was set up to do, which is to get high prices and high profits at times of scarcity. We've got it arse about face.
We need to enhance national interest. We need to ensure that the narrow cast of managers, directors, and those fortunate enough to own shares don't profit disproportionately at the cost of regional New Zealand that has been, if we're not careful, turning into an economic desert if we have too many of these large employers sent to the wall through energy prices.
All right, Shane Jones, I'm going to finish this by putting the blowtorch on you. So I'm figuring if Debbie reckons maybe Luxon's Machiavellian, who's the psychopath and who's the narcissist? Is Seymour the psychopath? Is Winston the narcissist? Come on.
Oh, there's a fair bit of Machiavellianism in the New Zealand First makeup, so I'll leave the other two to your listeners to determine.
Oh, so Winston's Machiavellian, there we go. It's part of the dark triad, according to Debbie, leading this country to ruin. Shane Jones, it's up to you to fight the good fight on behalf of Joe Average New Zealanders.
No, I'm looking forward to it, mate.